Welcome back on in, eh?
Yeah, so another Sunday, another podcast.
I know.
Week 2? Who would have thought it?
Week 2 of the podcast, week 1 of F1.
Yeah.
So, where do we start with that? Where do we start? That's the big thing. There was a lot of talking points.
Absolutely. I think we kind of look back on where our predictions were, because we obviously all did predictions this time last week, and really, we first off predicted all that Max was going to win it. I think we smashed that out the park. We absolutely got that right. Max won it by a mile. I don't think there was any contest today. If that's the way the season's going, I mean, he's world champion already by halfway through the season. But I mean, if you're a Mercedes and a Ferrari fan, you're kind of hoping that it is the case of the Bahrain curse, or as it is, it's actually the 20, because this was what we got wrong last week. You know how we were speaking about the curse?
Yeah.
So it's not a curse on the Bahrain, or anything to do with that. It's specifically whatever opening race it is cursed. So since Nico Rosberg in 2016, nobody has won the first race and then gone on to win the title, basically.
That is quite a stat, to be fair.
Yeah. So Nico Rosberg basically left the sport and cursed us. That is it. That is it.
That does seem like quite a Nico thing to do, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's like, I hate you all, cursed. So yeah, I think we smashed it on. Well done, guys.
Yeah,
round of applause.
yeah.
And our predictions were, I don't know if you guys remember, but you, Sophie, over there, you predicted Alonso. Well done, smashed that.
Thank you. I got that one right. I was really proud of that one, actually. So when it came through, it was like, Alonso. I was like, I got it right.
You smashed it, and we all got Max right. The second place one, I think maybe you said Perez to come second or third. You definitely got Perez on the podium, which was right. And then you said George Russell, actually. So you did say Perez second, I think. And then George Russell third.
I don't think I did very well with the George Russell one, not going to lie here.
Can we be real? George Russell, he was kind of there at the start, and he was a bit like, Hamilton's a bit slow, what's wrong? And they were like, Hamilton's struggling. If he really wanted to, he could have passed, you know? If he really wanted to, he could have passed, right? But at the same time, I don't know if he could have passed. That Mercedes didn't look good in DRS.
No.
It did nothing. Every time Mercedes was behind another car, did they pass? No.
But then, to be fair, I don't think the Mercedes particularly looked good at all. Not good at all. I think that's
bad, but it didn't look good.
Yeah, I would say it looked very mediocre. It was like they were just trying to plain sail it through, not put any sort of media on it being slow trying to overtake, or just in general, it just looked very basic as a car.
Yep.
I think the best part of the race, or the best part from Mercedes' point of view, was the battle that Hamilton and Alonso slightly had, throwing back the years there, back to McLaren.
I think, honestly, the Mercedes, Alonso, Aston Martin versus Mercedes, that's probably going to be what the season's about. I think that's going to be the best battles we're going to see. It was by a mile. Well, Carlos Sainz, my season prediction's not going well there. But at the same time, Carlos Sainz might be in the mix. But really, it was Red Bull, then Ferrari, then Mercedes versus Aston Martin. And to be honest, I don't really remember anything else other than the battle that kind of Lewis... I've forgotten all the names there. Lewis, Fernando, and Carlos had. That was the only thing I can really take away from the race as being a good race.
Yeah. And
Charles stopped on track.
We don't need that right now.
How you feeling, Sophie?
Not too great, to be honest. I just feel like this is going to be maybe a repeat.
I did feel it was quite funny though how over winter Ferrari were like, we've worked on reliability. First race turns up and boom. But also, is it like Leclerc's slightly cursed at Bahrain as well? That's 2 engine failures he's had. Well, engine or power issue related failures he's had at Bahrain.
When was the other one?
That when his first season in Ferrari, when he...
Oh, yeah.
When he took Bahrain by storm, looked so quick all weekend, and then as going down that short back straight, Lewis gave him the little wave. Hello. Right, see you later. See you next time.
Zoom. Right past. No.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a shame for Leclerc. Like it was ridiculous in the end. Like Ferrari looked like clowns. They look like clowns. They've said it
Again.
before. They were like, oh, we didn't really work on the car and speed over. We just really worked on reliability. Boom. They turn up to the grid today, and Leclerc's had to have a battery change because overnight they're charging the battery. What happens? The battery's not charged. Like it's still trying to charge to full. So they're like, oh, that's a problem. So they change the battery. Oh, what happens? It breaks down. The other story. How terrible for McLaren. Sorry again, Sophie, because you do like...
I'm totally
to,
on
like-
board.
Can I just say though, my bold prediction was I said McLaren would be a bottom 2 team, and are they smashing that out of the park right now?
You're doing well.
100%.
Yeah.
You're doing well. Yeah, like, honestly, just... It was... I really felt for Oscar Piastri because, you know, he really did try, but he just didn't even get a chance. But
No.
he started moving up. I feel like he had the potential to move up there. And Lando Norris, actually, when he was following, I know they were battling, but he was following along behind Lewis, Fernando, and, you know, he was up there and he, you know, looked like he was going to pass Lewis and Carlos at one point before he pitted. So he was there. He just had to pit about 10 times just to get that, what was it, air in the engine or something?
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was. There was
Yeah.
something wrong with his engine. He had to keep getting air in it. So just all round embarrassing.
Yeah, but McLaren never really hit the ground running last season, did they? And still managed to scrape. Well, not scrape, but still managed to like imprint themselves pretty much in the midfield.
Mm-hmm.
So, from a McLaren point of view, I wouldn't read into it too soon. I think if we get to third or fourth race and they're still needing to put like pit 10 times a lap, 10 times a race just to sort of
Fix the power unit.
keep the car running, then you're going to go, right, okay, what's really going on
You
here?
know.
But Danny Rick must be looking at that going, oh, I'm glad I got out at the right time.
Yeah, the Danny Rick memes are definitely flying at the minute. I've been seeing a few on Twitter and it's just like everyone's laughing at McLaren, but
The other memes as well that I've seen is the Vettel taking Lance out the car now
That
that the
was
Aston Martin.
That was funny. I'll give you that. That made me laugh because Liam sent it to me and I was like, that's funny. I sent it on to my dad. I was like, he'll appreciate that. But yeah, Lance, how about Lance? What were your thoughts on Lance being driving this weekend with his broken wrists? I definitely noticed at the end, he was doing an interview at the end. I don't know what was said in the interview because I didn't have the volume up. But you could see him like moving his wrists a lot and I was like, they're obviously bothering him.
I feel like it was sort of dangerous for him to be in the car. Was it qualifying you had to get helped out of the car?
I think practice. I think it was practice. In practice, it was definitely on a Friday.
Yeah. Well, I seen on the Friday, his engineer was like, oh, we need to like work on turn 1. He's like, I can't. Like, I just can't turn.
You couldn't. And then he actually failed, so they have to, in testing, they all run it, apart from Lance obviously wasn't at testing. You have to be able to get out of the car, I think, in under 5 seconds. And Lance actually then had to do that, obviously, this weekend, and he failed the first time he did that.
Yeah, he
had to
failed.
take a second attempt. So that, in itself, if you're failing the first time, it's like, why? There's obviously a problem there. So if he was to crash this weekend, catch fire, like, you know, Roman Grosjean did, you've got 5 seconds to get out of that car. Are you getting out of that car in 5 seconds?
No way.
Well,
Not with
even,
risks like that.
even the video of him actually getting out of the car, you seen him, like, his hands basically, like, in at his chest and, like, hooking his elbows over the halo to try and push himself up. Now, obviously, luckily enough, he passed the FIA test so that he was allowed to race. I do think that helps Aston Martin in the long run, having potential both drivers being able to complete all 23 races. It's the best bet for them, because Drogovic is good, but would he have scored consistent points like Lance did today?
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's not really about, like, I don't think he's a bad driver, okay, so that's not why I'm saying no, but he's a rookie, and if you look at the rookies today, Sargent actually, Sophie's hot take on Sargent not doing well. Sargent actually was the best one, I think.
I know.
We never got to see Piastri, and who's the other one that was a rookie?
To be fair, with Piastri, he did move up 2 places in the first lap, so
Yeah,
like it was a promising start. Like if he could have continued on, I think he would have done pretty decent, but unfortunately, it's not the case today.
He did well. He did better than what he did in qualifying. I can't remember who's the other rookie.
De Vries.
De Vries.
But he's not really rookie, is he?
Can I also say that it wasn't really fair because everyone pit under that virtual safety car and he didn't, so he kind of got like hung out to dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like he was just went down the pack, but Yeah, I think I did see an overtake from him and he looked pretty good. But yeah, we didn't really get to see his full potential, I think, today. I think it was just...
I think the more we see De Vries in the car, getting used to the car, because obviously last season I think he was in and around every team under the sun basically. Getting him in a team.
He's like a F1 slot.
Yeah.
You could kind of say that if you wanted
Sorry,
to.
I had to. That's all I could think.
So, De Vries, I think that the best we'll see from De Vries is when he gets consistent in the car, more and more. And to be fair, I think today was more or less from the rookies in anyway. Was more or less get your first F1 race under the belt. Just get it done. Ease yourself into it, and then you can sort of build that platform from there. Nobody really needed to take any risks today. But going back to your initial question of how did we think Lance did?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Total sidetrack there as usual.
I actually think Lance did very well. To beat a Mercedes with the risks that he's got now, bearing in mind, yes, the car looked phenomenal. As Fernando Alonso said, this is a beautiful car to drive.
Can I say on that note, I can't wait till the end of the season when there's something wrong with that car and it starts going downhill down at the back of the grid. Someone take that comment and say, look at Fernando Alonso now, eh? Like, I can't wait for the memes at the end of this year when that car, there's something happens, like it breaks down or something like that, and it's like, what a great car, what a great car, that's what he said.
Or something like, this is a beautiful car,
This is
I
a beautiful,
love it.
he was like, it's a beautiful drive or something, like, amazing to drive, something like that. And I can't wait for someone to take that clip and just like start putting memes of all the time the car breaks down or something like that and he gets really angry.
To be fair, actually, I seen a meme for Fernando Alonso that was taken on there when he was at McLaren saying GP2 engine. It was a picture of him where he was going GP1 engine, GP1.
That's brilliant, that's quite funny. Yeah, but Lance, sorry. I actually think he smashed it. Do you know what? I can't say a bad thing today about it, other than he absolutely almost torpedoed and ruined both their races. Got a bit lucky there. Fernando Alonso's like, right, who is that? Get to the FIA right now. I think he fully knew it was Stroll, by the way. I don't think for a second, he looked in his mirrors and just saw Stroll there, you know.
Who actually uses the mirrors? I'm not going to lie. No, I'm not. Everything that's happened.
Sophie's driving to a T right there. Who uses their mirrors?
Who uses mirrors?
When you look at Leclerc's first 30 seconds, it seemed of his flying lap in quali, where carbon fibre started coming off his car. He's seen that coming off the back of his car. So
yeah,
Leclerc uses his mirrors. So there's one.
True. I think they do genuinely use them, but like I do think Fernando Alonso probably knew it was Stroll.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling, and he was like asking like for the like what's being done, and they were like, oh, shit, we'll not say it's Stroll.
I think that's an interesting dynamic though. The fact that already like you've had that incident now. Yeah, it didn't ruin either one of the races. Alonso still got on the podium. Aston Martin still bedding themselves as that second best team this season, but. The fact that they wouldn't tell him it was Lance.
I know.
Like if that was Mercedes, they'd have been like to Lewis, oh, it was George.
Yeah.
Or if that was Red Bull, they'd be like, it was Checo or it was Max. I love it how my instance was it was Checo hitting Max. But,
yeah.
Like that's going to happen.
But you know, like any other team would have dealt with that.
This race.
I don't know.
End of the championship. Perez needs that win.
look at the what was it the Magnussen and Roman Grosjean at Haas. When they two started colliding with each other, they knew it was each other.
Yeah.
And they just built up that dynamic. So I think it's going to be interesting to see if Lance gets protected from his engineer.
Yeah.
From Fernando's engineer because who his dad is within the team. That could play such a big key part. Because let's face it, if that Aston Martin is going to be a championship competitive car, it's Alonso that's a championship competitor, not Lance.
But then you've got to think, Lance Stroll couldn't turn that car and he still brought it home sixth, and he wasn't that far behind Alonso. So do you know what? I'm interested to see like how Lance is going to do. I really think, I'm hoping that Lance is actually up there on Fernando's level just for the drama. I want to see 2007, right? Alonso Hamilton repeat. Let's go. Like, let's have those arguments. Let's have him like throw the tantrums, because I do think like they're both two sides that are going to clash, and you know you saw it from like they hit each other and then they came up in the end and they give each other Lance is like little hug, you know,
big hugs.
And
was it Alonso that said in an interview about Lance Stroll, I fucking love you, after he split the Mercedes after today, and I'm like, right, going on that point of if Lance does manage to challenge Alonso at that level, how long is that I love you relationship gonna stick?
Yeah.
Right, you kind of saw it with Fernando and Ocon. So, like, Ocon's like, Fernando says about Ocon, like, tell Esteban to fight like a lion and things like that.
Was
and
that
like
Qatar? When
uh-huh.
Perez was hunting them down. Yeah.
It was Lewis, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was Lewis, because both times it was Lewis, because it was Alonso held up Lewis in Hungary for Ocon's first win.
Yes.
And like they looked like great friends, but in the end, I don't think they were great friends.
No.
Like I think they are when things are going right. Like they're like yes, like smashing it. Well done Ocon today in today's race. My driver of the day, by the way. I think they said 35 seconds extra on penalties or something like that. Like it was only like 20 seconds from what I saw, but the comms team said it was 35.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think when it's going right, they seem friends, but outside of that, like Ocon and Fernando, like weren't friends.
To be fair, to see like how Ocon actually defended against it, it was just like, oh no, on you go.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh no, here he comes. Oh, sorry, I tried.
It's like oh shit. Toto Wolff's so he doesn't work for Mercedes Ocon anymore, but Toto Wolff, he's like, oh god, get out of the way. No. You see it with Bottas as well, by the way. He goes, oh, Mercedes driver, let me get out of the way.
Oh, here's like Valtteri, it's James. Move.
He gets flashbacks every time, and he's like, get me out of the way.
Move. On you go.
Shit, that's Hamilton.
Sorry, Toto, I'll move.
Yeah, but I genuinely see that Bottas will hold up a driver that is like, if it's Max Verstappen, he'll hold him up, but if it's Lewis Hamilton, he's like, oh, let me just move out of the way.
Sorry, didn't see you, I'm moving.
Vice versa, like the AlphaTauris do it for the like Gasly would do it for Max and things like that. Lando does it for Max, things like that. Like
to be fair, going off that, I remember was it not Hockenheim, but during the COVID season when we raced in Germany. Mm-hmm. Oh, what's the famous track? That shows my knowledge anyway. There was one where Albon was in the Red Bull and he clipped with, was it Gasly? But he was like, they raced me so hard, and you almost heard like tears in the back of his voice.
Was
like,
that not Spa?
No, it wasn't Spa. It was the other German race we had. It wasn't the Nürburgring. Was it the Nürburgring? Did we race at the Nürburgring?
My brain can't remember right now. Yeah,
COVID was that long ago. I just feel like everything's all in one. I have no idea what's happening.
I went and watched the 2022 season. That sounded really wrong in my mouth there.
So last season.
Last season. And I was like, do you know what? I can't even remember. What even is Miami? Like, I do not remember that race at all.
But thanks to Drive to Survive, it's ingrained into my brain now. Yeah. The only thing really I can remember about Miami, it was Martin Brundle just like lying in the fake marina. Was it him?
Oh yeah.
No, it wasn't Martin Brundle. It was the Sky Sports presenter. What's his name?
Oh, this is terrible.
So Martin, Johnny.
No, none of it wasn't that crew. He reports on. No, he reports on everything. He's an older man. I know who you're on about.
Yeah. This just to show my short-term memories. Really good, guys. Don't expect me for fact checks.
Yeah, I can start just like going through any commentators. Do you mean Channel 4?
No, definitely Sky.
Definitely Sky Sports.
So he's not a commentator.
No, he doesn't do like the F1 programming himself. Like he would be on Sky Sports News, and he would.
Okay, then no chance am I. I probably know him if I see the photo, but I don't watch like Sky Sports stuff. But I know you guys do because of like, football and that.
You would know him definitely from that. From like if you saw his face, but the one that I remember from Miami was the eternity it took to get to the podium, and then they had the police escort.
Oh yeah, that was so cringe. I forgot about that.
And I was like, only in America, only. So
that was horrendous.
This sort of like bigs it up though. I'm like, what is the Vegas podium going to be like?
It's going to be mental.
Like an Elvis impersonator just standing there like handing out the trophies. Well done, guys.
Can I?
Might be in the fake like chapel where they all get married when they're drunk or something. I have no idea how this has happened, but that's what Vegas is famous for, you know. F1 will want the Americans to thrive on
Can I
on this
just
cheesy
can
stuff.
I just say though, right? It's the one race I'm not looking forward to is
Yeah.
Vegas. Like I really
think it's-
cannot be bothered with it.
I think it's going to be boring. I don't think there's going to be very much happening.
Do you know what? I have hope. Let's be positive.
Positive vibes only,
Woo!
guys.
No hiding. No, it's just not happening.
It's not happening. Oh God. Well, do you know, I have hope that every race is going to be good. Like, one of my friends said it was like today was like boring. He was, are you enjoying this? And I was like, do you know what? Like, take away like the first positions, right?
Yeah.
Actually, the battle like that was going on, I really did enjoy, and it did keep me watching. I have fallen asleep in F1 races before, and if I was going to fall asleep, today was going to be that day. So I didn't fall asleep, so it can't have been that bad a race. You know,
Positive.
positive. It wasn't
Seal
that.
of approval.
It wasn't like it wasn't amazing because we didn't have a battle for first. But like if you take away first and second, even third. I mean, like to be fair, at least we had a little bit of a battle between Charles and Perez. But if you take away the first to third, we did have like a decent race from there downwards. And like my hope is this time last year we turned around and we said Charles Leclerc, he's got a hand on that trophy. You know, like after the first few races we were like Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
It wasn't the case in the end. So I really have hope that you know these drivers can pull it back. These teams can do some work and they can be up there. You know, my biggest hope right now is Aston Martin's looking the raciest out of the rest of the pack actually, and the most likely to be up there. Like I say, Red Bull's he was one of their aerodynamicists.
Yeah.
Not Helmut Marko. I'm doing well. Adrian
Newey.
Newey.
Okay.
Protégé, and look where they are. Like
Yeah,
that
fine.
car is a
It's a carbon copy of
it's
not
maybe last year's car to be honest.
Maybe not a carbon copy, but like there's definitely influences of the RB18 on that car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you look at the side pods and how they swoop down, it just to me, I think a few people very early doors maybe tried to say that they might have taken some stuff from Ferrari, but the more and more I see that Aston Martin, I'm like, they've walked into the Red Bull factory and just picked up the car and gone green.
Thank you. We'll
Like we
take
said,
it.
it's pink Mercedes, now it's the
green Red Bull.
Green Red.
To be fair,
Green Bull. Green Bull.
Green
Green
Bull.
Bull. Yeah, fair.
I was going to start calling it that.
Yeah, the Green Bull.
The Green Bull. Watch out for that Green Bull. Sorry, that was
If
horrendous.
Ferrari keep having reliability issues, I know. I generally think it's going to be Aston Martin that's going to be like second
I
in
know.
the constructors are like move out the way.
Do you know what? Not even the fact if they keep having reliability issues. Aston Martin just like Alonso anyway just looked very racy today, especially at points. There was points where he sort of just was there, and you were like, "Come on, Alonso, you're waiting for him to do that next thing," and
Yeah.
it never really came. And then he'd be on the gearbox of George Russell. Then he'd be on the gearbox of Lewis Hamilton, and you were like to yourself, "He's slowly and like I think that's just his experience of being the oldest driver on the grid." But like when you see like these younger drivers. Like on a good race, like Max, you always sort of see him behind the gearbox of somebody, and you think to yourself, Max just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Whereas Alonso was like, he'd quieten down a wee bit, and then he would go again, and you were like, stop, start, stop, start. But it was so effective today. When it came to Sainz, albeit there was that touch. I don't know what you make of it yet, but Alonso. In Sainz, there wasn't really much of a battle, but that moved down the inside at turn 9, turn 10. That one where you come down and it's the heavy braking zone.
Yeah.
I don't think there's many drivers on the grid that would have actually have gone for that at that point.
One was
Yeah.
was that not on Lewis? He did that.
No, was it not on Sainz he did that? Oh no, wait, it might have been Lewis.
It
who
was
did that.
Lewis,
Yeah.
and then Sainz he got on the Sainz locked up down that corner, and then he got him on that straight.
Yeah.
So he did, yeah.
So like, I think Lewis managed to fight harder when you think about it, like lap wise.
Yeah.
It was a bigger, like it was over a longer time. He was Alonso was gaining more, and then like they were like, Lewis, your deg's the best, on you go, and like Lewis actually managed to keep that gap and pull a bit. But then it was as if the Mercedes just fell off a fucking cliff. It was like, and then at least like. They had I'm thinking of the turn 1, 2, 3, 4, turn 4, and Lewis actually came back, and like Alonso had that snap, and at least we had like a little bit of a battle. Whereas with the Carlos Sainz one, I think Carlos did a better job of keeping him behind for a longer period of time, like actually like within the DRS zone.
Yeah.
But I think he just had nothing to come back with, you know.
Yeah.
And I think Lewis did a shit job of not overtaking Carlos. Like, not in a bad way, but like he should have had more. You know, that Ferrari was slow. But I don't know if Lewis used up his tyres. He was the first to pit at the end of the day. But like, yeah.
I just don't see the Mercedes being competitive at all, which is quite worrying, I would say.
I mean, I'd say it looked better than the Ferrari today. I think the Ferrari, okay, it was higher up, but I think like the Ferrari was just nowhere. I don't know. I don't know.
I think the Ferrari has raw speed,
Mm-hmm.
which I think puts it that far up. But as an actual race car, I don't think it's.
Yeah.
This is almost as if they keep having to do quali laps. Isn't that like the way it sort of handles?
Yeah.
Or it seems like the way it handles is they just have to continuously do fast lap, fast lap, fast lap. Whereas the Mercedes, I actually thought Lewis and George could actually
race.
Yeah, do like I think the Mercedes has definitely improved from last season. Albeit this time last season they were on the podium and people were thinking, okay, maybe Mercedes isn't as bad as what you thought. But I think that set Mercedes up negatively for the start of last season was the fact they got the podium.
Yeah.
I think if they didn't, people would have gone, right, okay, Mercedes are at this level, and everyone would have been like earlier on in the case going, yeah, Mercedes aren't that person. But then when all of a sudden they're not getting podiums, even though they got a podium in the first race, they're like, well, we're Mercedes.
What's going on?
And I think the thing what you got to think about with Mercedes especially is that they worked on the porpoising. So the big thing with them is they're not porpoising. So actually, instead of this season of trying to work out the porpoising, they can actually work out the car.
Well, was it not Sainz at one point during the race?
Yeah, it was in like lap 49 or something.
Yeah, I think
and they're like, just focus on the race.
Yeah, I think his fuel level probably dropped and the car was lighter.
Yeah.
So like it started like the weight distribution. Like seeing Clarkson's Farm, eh? The weight distribution change. Have you guys watched Clarkson's Farm?
I haven't, no.
I've seen clips of season 2, so don't spoil too much for me.
Okay, I won't spoil too much for you. But Jeremy Clarkson was obviously on the track today.
Lovely seeing him
Sophie
back.
does not like Jeremy Clarkson.
I don't.
It's like Lewis Hamilton, Jeremy Clarkson. Who do you hate
It's just a long list. Who do I hate more?
All the goats of people in cars Sophie doesn't like.
Probably Jeremy Clarkson.
Okay, thank God, because honestly, like
I don't
he's
hate
done a
Lewis.
lot. Yeah, but Jeremy Clarkson has done a lot of controversial stuff, whereas Lewis Hamilton has not.
Yes.
So I would have been a bit concerned.
No, a few of Jeremy's articles over the years, I just he's not my type of person. That's probably why I haven't watched Top Gears probably as much as like you guys, because I just can't stand them.
I grew up on that show, not gonna lie. I grew up on that show. I love Top Gear.
I didn't watch like much of it. Like I actually watch more nowadays than what I did. Like, because my dad and my sister used to watch it all the time, and I didn't. But I probably watch more now because I they're funny in ways, like, you know, you see stuff and it's really entertaining. Like, right. Anyway, back into it. After that little cow, basically, yeah, Jeremy Clarkson.
When you say that you're watching it now, do you mean like the Grand Tour or the one?
I mean, like I watch
like
a lot more clips of Top Gear and stuff like that. And like Lewis Hamilton's lap round Top Gear. That was insane. I don't think you've ever watched this.
I've watched it on TikTok.
She goes on about this at work all the time.
No, I don't. He did his in like a wet track condition, and he was faster than those in dry. Like, you expected him down at the bottom and he was like up there, and that was insane. But it is Lewis Hamilton and he is like a wet driver, you know. He is one of the ones that are, if you see somebody in the wet, like, you're like, Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, the best of the best are always the best ones in the wet, and they're the ones I look for, like, actually Jenson Button doing well.
To be fair, going back to just there,
Jeremy Clarkson, sorry.
Going back to there, just the on about drivers in the wet. That is it 2016.
Lance Stroll as well.
Well, Lance putting that pink Mercedes on pole is one, but the one that sticks out in my mind is when Verstappen has the pirouette in Brazil, and he just somehow manages to.
He's done that a few times.
He goes sideways and he just flicks the car back into straight, and you're like, how is he just drifted in an F1 car?
Yeah, his worst worst race in the wet was Turkey 2020. Remember, he was just he was
just
spinning,
Yeah.
and so like they all have their bad days.
Was I not
think,
trying to overtake
as well.
Perez as well when he was in the pink Mercedes?
Perez came second that year, didn't he? Him and Lewis stayed out. Perez and Lewis stayed out. Lance got pitted onto another set of intermediates.
And he went through that graining phase.
Yeah, and
and
they
just,
all. But the ones him and Perez and Lewis just stayed out, and they turned into that kind of like intermediate, like into the soft
Yeah.
skin of the
Yeah.
thing. And they actually managed to. But if you went onto a pair of softs, they were like, there was no chance you were actually getting there.
Do you know, a stat that I seen the other day was that Vettel is the only person to complete a lap on like a dry compound in an actual race for Turkey. Because both times you've raced there, it's been
Really?
intermediate weather.
Wow.
Because remember,
Seb tried it.
Seb tried to go out on mediums, and he was just like, no.
No, I remember that
No.
now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Camera.
technically.
It's fine. We're just going to use my phone.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this today. I'm not having it.
The stress of the last week for
I'm
Heidi.
not having it. To be honest, the camera one was the easy one, right? So basically, to the listeners, I have been doing the editing side of stuff, so I kind of know what I'm doing from like past experiences. We'll call it that. So I took the audios from all our mics and I merged them together. And then I took the video clips, right? And we tried to use the Sony camera, as you heard probably, and the Sony camera died after 5 minutes. I thought I'd fixed it. It's died after half an hour. So I think there must be something with the half an hour on that this time. And then we recorded on my phone. My phone died at the end. If you watch the YouTube version, you will see that. It corrupted the file. So then I had to, I basically managed to get the file onto the computer, right? But the file was corrupted. So Adobe was like, absolutely not, we're not having this anywhere near
Oh
me.
no.
So then I tried so many different ways to like export it and like use file converters to try and re-export it and fix the coding. It just didn't work. I had to pay to watch it because it was like, oh, you can't watch this without like a different coder. And I was like, well, okay, 79p, fine. Didn't even work, not worth it. Basically, all I had to do was cut the clip, like by a second, and resave the video on my phone, and that was it fixed. Okay, that's stupid. I didn't realize until like Thursday, and I tried it, and it worked. And then I tried to get it. My internet is terrible, so then I tried to get it onto my computer. A 20 gigabyte thing on my phone, just never gonna happen. It had to be like a 12-hour thing, and then after that again, it was like. Exporting it took 12 hours, uploading to YouTube, because by the time I exported it, it got from 20 gigabytes to like 50 gigabytes. So I then have to upload it, and an SD that took 24 hours, I think, in the end, actually. It took about 24 hours to upload to YouTube, and then it took another like 6 hours to upload that in HD and 4K, because for whatever reason, we had a 4K version on it. So enjoy the YouTube version, because it's seemingly good quality.
We'll take it.
We'll take it. But yeah, mind-blowing stuff.
You have been a very stressed person.
Yeah, I
last
have.
week.
So I normally try and get 8 hours sleep a night. I'm on average. I was on 3 hours, 15 minutes one night. I don't know how I survived the week, but I was on average 5 hours sleep a night. Like, that's insane. So hopefully this time it runs a lot better. We know it's trial and error.
Error.
It was very Scottish how you said error there.
Yeah, but it is trial and error. Like, hopefully this will sound better than the last time. That's why we've moved areas. So if you're watching on YouTube again, you will see that we are not sitting in the lovely background that we had before, to try and stop the echoing. So we're working on it.
We are.
But
we are.
yeah, can we go back to Jeremy Clarkson and
Yeah.
how Carlos Sainz worked? So Jeremy Clarkson, I live on a farm as well. So he has this tractor and he puts like, I think it's I'm trying to think what it was. He basically, it's not a subsoiler but a cultivator. He puts a cultivator on the back of it. He buys a big massive one to put on it. His tractor, it then is flipping up. So he has to. My dad's like watching. He's like, put a weight on it, Jeremy. Put a weight. He's like shouting at him. So he puts a weight on the front of it to weigh it down. But as he's driving along cultivating, the fuel goes down. So the tractor, lightens up. So then he starts, the tractor starts doing this rear thing again, and he struggles. He has to go and get Caleb, the guy that works for him. He has to go in the front of it and weigh it down to get it home. And like
God.
honestly, you should see him. He's trying to go up this hill, and it's like rearing up this hill and onto like a main road, and this car comes by. He's like, because he might get flattened by him.
Sorry.
It's fine. I can edit that out hopefully.
A lot of editing going on today.
I know. I bet you I won't be
killing
able
you.
to edit out of all of our audios as well. You just hear Sophie, achoo!
I'll apologise now.
Trying to make this week easier for you, and Sophie's just made it even harder for you.
I know, another 3-hour night. But no, it was rearing, and it was really funny. So I reckon that's probably something to do with what happened to Carlos Sainz, because he was like bouncing and rearing.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't rearing, but like
Yeah, I
linking
mean,
the
it was
bouncing to the rearing of the tractor and the weight.
Yeah, even if you look at Max today, when he was downshifting, he was getting rear locking as well. Different from Carlos going on about bouncing up and down, but Max was on about the rear locking, and then good old GP's just like, just change strat. It's alright. It's a Red Bull. Just change strat. It's fine. Just go back to strat 8. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Is it just me, or has Max Verstappen always got a gear shift problem? Always.
Oh, always. I don't know how he gets the car bloody home half the
I know.
time.
He's like, the
can't
shifts are
make
delayed
it.
and stuff like that all the time. And I'm like, Christ, not here we go again. We're gonna break down. Ah, shit, he's not broken down, kind of thing. Every single time, you're like watching his times, and you're like, you're still going a second faster than everyone else. So get over it.
Do you not
You'll be
think?
fine.
Yeah.
Do you not think though that could be something that like?
It's a communication thing.
Well, maybe not even a communication thing, but if there's like if there is a problem with his shifting consistently, that is something that Honda need to improve, is the kinetics of that
But is
gearbox to engine.
Is it affecting him?
Well, no, it's not. It's not.
Exactly. So
But then it was just me thinking that, is it Max thinking of the problem where he wants like what in his head what the perfect gear shift is, or is it actually like a problem with the car that's the design of the car?
Yeah.
Is that if there's going to have a fault, it is like the gearbox that has the fault.
yeah. Because does it ever happen in practice or quali? No, it's always a
No.
race.
It's always the race. You never actually see a Red Bull break down in or have any problems in like a practice session or a quali session. You never see it. It's only ever like 3 laps to go to the end of the race and both engines just die.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Not
really
this
sad that
week.
didn't happen. Yeah.
A point I want to make from this race today actually is, I know Alonso got driver of the day, very like respectable drive from him, his 99th podium in F1. But for me, a driver that I think kind of went under the radar, and go back to Heidi's thing of how good the racing has been this season, Pierre Gasly started last
Yeah.
and respectably got points for Alpine today. Where
Brilliant drive.
Why did he start last? Was he over the line or
I
something?
think did he not get a time deleted?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was going to say, I kept seeing that, but I didn't know if it was actually deleted or not. It was a bit confusing.
Yeah, but I think from a Gasly point of view, he just put his head down, just drove, and I think he showed his quality to Alpine that even though quality might not go the way they need it to go, he's still got a good drive in him to scrape back the points. Don't know what you make of it, but quite frankly, for me, I think he could take the hype away from Alonso getting on the podium. I think Gasly deserved driver of the day.
Yeah.
If it wasn't Alonso and Aston Martin, I don't think it would have been as big as the hype as like what you're saying. So I think Pierre Gasly probably would have actually got it, because he's shown that he's willing to fight, battle, get that car to where it needs to go.
Well,
so
from an F1 point of view, of like the actual like, or Sky Sports F1 point of view, I don't think I actually saw any of Gasly's overtakes.
no.
I actually feel like I just watched Aston Martin v Mercedes all day.
I said I didn't really, like, me and my sister were watching it together, and I said, like, I didn't think the showmanship, I don't know why I'm doing a box with my hands, the showing of it wasn't that great. Like, honestly, there was a point where I think Alonso was about to overtake George, and we're like, it's 4:10, why are we not watching that? We're watching somebody in the fucking Lando Norris in the pit lane or something like that. And I was like, come on, like, we don't really care.
Flashbacks to Gasly and Vettel overtaking, and then we cut
the one overtaking Monaco. No,
No, you're not doing that.
Yeah, psych.
Stroll going off.
Stroll clipping up.
Oh my days, yeah, that was, yeah. But basically, I just didn't think they were showing that great. I honestly, like I say, I couldn't tell you what happened other than those like three. I know Max and Perez won, but below the top, what was that? From George down, George came 7th. Below that, no idea what happened.
No.
I think as far as season openers have gone in recent times, like last season we had the 2 Red Bulls both have engine failures.
AlphaTauri.
And then Mercedes getting podiums, and then you've got season openers before then. I think season openers have always been sort of entertaining in a way, like they've had their own sort of wow factor. There might not be many overtakes, but there's been something in the race that has been a key point. Whereas today I just kind of felt like, other than
Fernando Alonso,
it was pretty much sort of as you sort of maybe expected from testing a wee bit. Like, don't get me wrong, we kind of expected Alonso to be there or thereabouts in the fight from testing, and obviously quali he led, well, he looked solid in practice.
Yeah.
Solid in quali 1 and quali 2, and then quali 3 came and I went, oh, he's 5th. I was like,
oh no, what's happening here?
I was doing my TikToks, trying to keep the TikTok alive. We're doing the CPR to it. I'm away competing, and I'm like, do you know what? I just do this as a joke because I kept seeing everyone do it, and I was like, we could do that as part of our social media side of stuff. So I just was doing it as a joke. I honestly, I was like winking to try and get it work, and then I was like, oh my days, it came up with Fernando Alonso, and I was like, I kind of have to post this because Fernando Alonso is in with a shout of getting pole, like with the way that everyone's speaking, like and then he came 5th, and I was like, you've really disappointed me, Fernando. You've really disappointed me. You let the side down.
Who would have thought that saying an Aston Martin came 5th, fifth in quali was a disappointment.
Yeah.
You would never have thought that.
No, absolutely not. Like, I think because people have hyped it up so much, I was like, he's actually in with a chance.
Pole.
I was like,
it's pole.
Exactly. I was like, yes, come on. But no, I agree. Like, if you had told me this time last year, or even at the end of the season last year, you're like, yeah, but that Aston Martin's going to get 3rd, or that Aston Martin's going to qualify 5th. They were at the bottom of the grid, like how they've come from last to first. Again, well, not last to first, but last to up there, I do not know. But
well, going off quali, I seen a simulation. It was Max's lap versus Perez's lap, where they have the car side by side, right?
Yeah.
And I know we sort of expect these mega laps from Max now. There's something that, like, he's pulled out the bag many times before, or something that he does quite consistently, where you think to yourself, oh, it's going to be very close, and then Max pulls out like half a second. That was a mega lap from Perez, an absolute mega lap. Like, I think he was it the middle sector or the final sector? He was fastest. Like, from quali, at the end of quali, Max and Perez were the fastest across the whole track. Like, timings, like, and I know Perez gets a lot of stick for being a second driver, but that lap shows why he's in that Red Bull.
Absolutely, and I think on that note, like a big point that was brought up this week was Alex Albon. He came out and he said that he really likes like a lot of front end on a car, so like more basically an understeery car than an oversteery car than an understeery car.
Like a sharper nose to turn.
Yeah, so if you turn the wheel, it's going to turn straight away. Like, so you oversteer. Whereas, and he said he's been teammates with Charles, he's been teammates with George Russell, I'm pretty sure it was, and with both of them, he wanted a sharper car. He wanted that oversteer, right? But he got in that Red Bull, and bear in mind, like Gasly and him, like they both struggled. And you think about how much he likes that. He said, you breathe on that wheel, and that wheel's like your car's turning. Like Max Verstappen has that car set, like they've set that car up for Max Verstappen, obviously.
100%.
So Perez, amazing that he can drive it.
Oh,
at the end of the day, amazing.
Don't get me wrong, what's this, his second season in the Red Bull, or third?
No, third.
Third season. So don't get me wrong, second in this model of car, and you maybe thought last season with Red Bull sort of having, like, every team having the clean slate, that they would sort of tailor it to both instead of a rear axle car like what Max likes. But no, they've obviously gone that way again, because Max in the RB18 and RB19 just look at one. They just look solid. But I think that takes like a lot of praise to Checo to really show he can huddle that car around and make it stick. Like, he never looked out of control at all today.
He's maybe getting used to it, but I do think Perez came out and said he tried the car that Albon and Gasly just couldn't drive, or I think it was at least Gasly's one. No, Albon's one, like the year
Yeah.
And he went and did that, and he said, no wonder they couldn't drive it. So I do think they have changed it a little bit. I do think it is still set up to max, obviously, but I do think they have tried to better it, because like 2 seasons of drivers unable to drive it.
I think
you've got to look in the mirror and be like, well, we need to fix something. Like, you can't tailor to one driver. You're never going to win a world championship. A team driver's championship with one driver.
100%, and I think if you looked at that era of Red Bull when it was the chop and change drivers, or silly mid-season as I like to call it that year, I think the car was maybe an 80-20 split, like 80% set up for Max.
Yeah.
In a way of, like, rear end sticks out on you, you breathe, your wheel turns, and that 20%, you're never gonna have a competitive car if you are constantly thinking to yourself, is this car going to stick? Is this car going to stick? Whereas Max, and I think that's why you've seen such a big difference, was Max was relatively challenging Mercedes at that point, although that was a solid Mercedes car that season.
I think 2020. You're talking about 2020?
I don't know, to be fair. I think I'm getting confused with about 3 different seasons here.
I know. Mercedes cars wise, I think 2020 was...
Pinnacle.
Yeah, that was the one with Das, and like that car will never be beat. Like, if they had that car in 2021, like, I think it would have been a different story, but the 2021 car I don't think was as good as the 2020 car.
Oh God, no.
But
It was nowhere near it.
Yeah, the 2020 car, like if that's the one you were talking... I'm trying to think. That was the start of COVID, so was that Albon? Yeah, because Perez was 21, 22, 23, is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was the Albon year.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think, going back to Monza when Pierre Gasly. Shock.
Like,
I'm like, that's the only way I can remember who was actually in what seat, because my memory, again, terrible. Can't.
Yeah, well there you go. Gasly was in an AlphaTauri then.
Yeah.
And that was 2020.
Yeah.
So yeah, like by Pierre Gasly again.
Yeah. A reference.
But yeah, like that was a really good car, and like you say, Max was challenging. So
yeah, but I think looking at the cars this year, relatively speaking, I think we need to take our hats off to a lot of the teams, because
it's close.
It's very close, and I actually
1.1 in Q1, 1.1 separated. I think it was Nick De Vries qualified 20th, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Max Verstappen 1.1 seconds, and if you told me again a couple of years ago 1.1 would close the Q1 gap, I'd be like,
well,
no.
see, then look at Sargent and Norris got bang on the same time.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if this is Williams improving or McLaren dropping, but Sargent, retrospectively, just because obviously I know Lando set the time first, so he's the one that goes through. But part of me was like, oh, just give it to Sargent. He's never been in Q2 before. Just give him it. Just give him it.
Yeah.
Lando's been there. Like,
does it not make you think though, if Sargent is doing that well in, I mean, to get the Williams through into Q2, like, does it not make you kind of think, well, actually, maybe the guys in F2, because Logan Sargent wasn't amazing in F2.
Wasn't the standard.
Maybe I'm just judging everyone, because I say this every time. You weren't amazing. You're not Calamilo. You're not Ollie.
No one can ever be Calamilo.
Yeah, exactly. Calamilo has my heart. But I never watched IndyCar. That's on right now. Anyway, but like, it kind of makes you think these guys in F2 are actually really good. You know, if Logan Sargent's there and up there and was challenging Lando Norris, I know it's in a McLaren, but Williams were meant to be, I don't think they are, but they're meant to be the back of the grid.
Bottom of the grid, yeah. I think we're going to find it easier to pick who's going to be first, second, third, fourth, like car-wise. I think the real challenge is going to be sort of fifth below, because I think, as we've said,
first and second is easy. It's going to be Red Bull.
Which
order?
I mean, like constructors wise, I think when you look at the likes of McLaren and Williams, Haas. At one point, Hülkenberg was fifth in quality, and you're thinking to yourself, Hülkenberg, like I just had flashbacks of Danny Rick going like, Nico Hülkenberg, but you're thinking to yourself, that Haas with 2 relatively good drivers in it could challenge it, and then today you looked and you're like, Hülkenberg's sitting like 19th.
Yeah, gutted for him. He did nothing wrong, didn't put a foot wrong. He just got fucked up at the start. He lost the whole end wing, because I think it was turn 4. Somebody just, I think it was.
Was it Ocon?
Ocon. Yeah, cut in front of him.
Yeah.
Ocon had a bad day. Took off. It was definitely. And Ocon's front wing got squinted as well. Actually.
Yeah, because did he not get a penalty for? Was there a penalty given for that?
No, it was a starting infringement. The starting box. So he was just over the line in the box, and then he sped in the pit lane, and then he didn't do his 5-second penalty in the thing. So he then got 10 seconds for that and 5 seconds for speeding.
I think that's so, like, to penalise Ocon for that, because he's just in the car. Like, it's everyone.
He should slow it down.
It's everyone around him.
Yeah.
But it's a team game.
It's a team game.
At the end of the day,
you need to penalise the team and how you're going to do that.
100%. So I was like, oh, it's a bit harsh to like give Ocon like a timed penalty for that. I was like, I get like knocking time off is the way it's worked and things like that, but I was like, surely they should be like, if Ocon finishes in the points, he gets like a point deducted or a couple points deducted, because he's not done the infringement, it's his team that's done the infringement.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just felt it's quite harsh to penalise the driver when he's not saying the starting box infringement, that's his fault. The speeding in the pit lane, that's his fault. So he deserves the penalties for those ones. But when he's like parked up, he just waits for everything to get the green light and then go. So it's down to the team to understand, right, we can't touch this car for, what was it, 5 seconds?
Yeah.
It's 5 seconds. I get that 5 seconds is a lot of time in Formula 1, but as Netflix did the Lewis Hamilton pit stop back in Silverstone.
That was like, what, half a minute they did that one?
Yeah.
I was like, this is the longest pit stop in the world, and he still managed to win the race.
Yeah.
How did you do it? Magician.
Back in the good old days, eh?
Anyway.
Okay, so Heidi here from the future, just popping in to say, basically we decided to cut this short and do a different episode. So the next episode we talk about general sport, so a lot about football, NFL, ice hockey, boxing, things like that. If you're interested in that, please do go ahead and go on to episode 3. It should be out by now, whether on podcast or video form. But a massive thank you for listening. A big thanks to Sophie and Liam. They obviously can't do the outro right now because they aren't here, but a big thank you to them for doing such a grand job as always, and we shall see you in the next episode.